When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization.
Let's start with this. Subject: ideological warfare. Notice the date of the document, 1952. The problem is to examine the value, content, and our means for waging effective ideological warfare against the worldwide communist apparatus. We'll get back to this apparatus in a minute. Definitions. Ideology is the basic beliefs motivating a social system. Ideological warfare is a planned attack against such system. In the analysis, they go on to explain that they are unable to defend or to fight back, and that they are not sure what it is that they are fighting. It says so right here and here. Let's get back to the worldwide communist apparatus. In District of Columbia Appropriation Bill for 1937, on page 651, communism is defined as being synonymous with world revolution, which seeks the destruction of all nations, including abolition of patriotism, religion, marriage, the family, private property, and all political and civil liberties, and the establishment of a worldwide dictatorship of the so-called proletariat, which is an autocratic, self-constituted dictatorship by a small group of self-perpetuating revolutionists. Or in today's language, you will own nothing and you will be happy. We'll get back to this later. Now, let's see the report that this paragraph recommends. Again, notice the date, 1931. Here we find the same theme. They have no power to combat the destructive nature of communism beyond assuming a defensive position. Okay, back to Appropriation Bill. On page 693 it states, I want to quote very briefly from 3 communist magazines to show that they are putting their greatest effort towards capturing the schools. And on page 677 we find this. Now I believe there should go into the record something of the truth of communism. First, I want to say a word about women and the emancipation of them. 1937, ladies and gentlemen. Let's jump to 60s and 70s now. Let's start with this.
I refer first to the need for far greater public information.
Well, we all know how it ended. Now let's look what followed next. Here we have 5 most prominent figures in the emancipation of women. Let's start at the bottom. Helene Gurley Brown belonged to sorority with this symbol. Kate Millett's sister tells a very interesting story about one of their meetings. This is a dialogue. Why are we here? To make revolution. What kind of revolution? The cultural revolution. And how do we make cultural revolution? By destroying the American family. And how do we destroy the family? By destroying the American patriarch. And how do we destroy American patriarch? By taking away his power. And how do we do that? By destroying monogamy. How can we destroy monogamy? By promoting promiscuity, eroticism, prostitution, and homosexuality. Well, do I need to say more? Now, Shulamith Firestone and her book, The Dialectics of Sex. It is a rebranded communist document, which is based on the philosophy of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Now, Gloria Steinem. She was a spy for CIA to do damage control, basically. Betty Friedan, on the other hand, was doing the same thing for the Communist Party.
To destabilize all the relations, all the accepted institutions and organizations in a country of your enemy. How you do it? You let them do it themselves.
And they did. These are the 4 names of people who actually made reforms happen. The first one brought LGBTQ into being. Second one made it legal to use contraceptives for women. Third one legalized abortion. And the 4th one initialized positive sex movement and self-love. Okay, let's jump to 90s.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Let's look into United Nations. This is the official report of the investigation of United Nations. The Soviet Union is effectively using the UN Secretariat in the conduct of its foreign relations, and the West is paying for the most of it. Here are some dates. If you want to pause and read: propaganda placement, the personnel selection process, role of the mission, and so on. Go ahead and read this document. It's not a joke. Now we jump to present-day events, where FBI agents issuing statements like this.
Arm yourself and know how to defend yourself. Make 3 to 4 friends in your neighborhood and promise to come to each other's mutual aid in times of hardship. And during the Great Depression, people stocked up a pantry. So I think that's a good practice, especially in our economic times, and make sure you have 3 to 4 months of food.
And now let's look into World Economic Forum. It is my personal opinion that the closer we approach to 2030, the more of the big names you will see falling. And it's gonna happen because of this.
So all these sleepers and activists and social workers and liberals and homosexuals and professors and Marxists and Leninists are being eliminated physically sometimes. They've done their job already. Okay? They are not needed anymore.
Back to WEF now. This is the best video that I could find. Links in the description. Go and check it, because it's gonna affect you personally. And instead of proposing what to do about it, I'm gonna leave you with this.
The process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people.
And yet these people who've been programmed and, as you say, in place, and
Yes.
who are favorable to an opening with the Soviet concept, these are the very people who would be marked for extermination in this country?
Most of them, yes. When they will see in future what the beautiful society of equality and social justice means in practice, obviously they will revolt. And the Marxist-Leninist regime does not tolerate these people. In future, these people will be simply squashed like cockroaches. Nobody is going to pay them nothing for their beautiful, noble ideas of equality. This they don't understand, and it will be a greatest shock for them, of course. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. And the initiator of this war is not Comrade Andropov, of course. It's the system. However ridiculous it may sound, the world communist system or the world communist conspiracy, whether I scare some people or not, I don't give a hoot. If you are not scared by now, nothing can scare you. That unlike myself, you have literally several years to live on. The time bomb is ticking. With every second, the disaster is coming closer and closer. Unlike myself, you will have nowhere to defect.